Hey guys, my name is Barry Gober. I've been noticing a lot of guys here lately on the forum have been posting questions about the best way to record their video exchanges, and I thought I would make a quick video on a new way that I've been finding to do mine. I haven't done a video exchange with this yet. I've tried everything in the past. I've used several different modelers. I'm in a situation where I've got to record quietly, so using a tube amp is out of the question for me, like it is for I'm sure a lot of people. I've tried 11 racks, I've tried Amplitude, I've tried UAD software, all kinds of amp sims. I recently stumbled upon a deal that I thought I would share. It is by far the most realistic amp sounding experience that I've had without actually using an amp. What I have done is I've got a Tweed Deluxe that I built, and I run a line out of the speaker. I disconnect the speaker to the Tweed Deluxe, and I run a speaker load out to what they call a Suhr reactive load. And the reactive load is basically a load box which takes the signal out of your amplifier and converts it to a line signal to send into other digital devices. I've used load boxes in the past. There are several on the market. There are two different kinds of load boxes. There's a resistive load and a reactive load. The Suhr is a reactive load, which mimics the actual impedance curve of an actual speaker. Most of the resistive loads are flat, so they sound okay, but they don't give you a realistic amp sound. You can really hear, I enclosed some audio clips at the end of this video, and you can really hear the thunk and the sound of the amp in the videos, and that's what the reactive load does that most resistive loads don't. A couple of the companies that I know that make reactive loads, in addition to Suhr, are Two Notes. They have a Torpedo series. I actually do use a Torpedo cabinet that comes out of the Suhr. I run a line out of the Suhr into the Torpedo cab, which is basically host impulse responses. And an impulse response basically mimics the sound of your cabinet and your speaker choice. I've got a Hammer Tweed Deluxe impulse response loaded into my Torpedo cab, which is basically supplying the speaker and cabinet sound to the sound coming out of the amplifier. Like I say, it's completely silent. From the Torpedo cab, I run into my audio interface, which is a Universal Audio Apollo, and from the output of the Apollo goes into Studio One, which is where I record the sound. I use a regular camcorder when I record, and I dump everything down into iMovie, where I strip away the sound of the camcorder and replace it with the sound that I captured in my DAW. But anyway, this is, I have access to a friend of mine owns a full recording studio, and I record there on a fairly regular basis, and I think that this setup is actually giving me a better sound than what I get in the recording studio using various mics, SM57s, SM7Bs, large diaphragm condensers. But this is a totally realistic sound, and for anybody looking for a silent way to record, this may be something that you want to look into. And I'll give you a brief glimpse of the equipment that I'm using and some audio clips at the back end of the video. Excuse the sloppy playing. I had a shard of metal shoot into my left hand ring finger, and it's still healing. A little bit of infection going on there, so it is a little tender so the strings touch. Probably didn't play my best, but I just wanted you to get an example of the sound that you can achieve with this. If anybody has any questions, feel free to post it and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Here is a picture of the amp that I'm using. It is, like I say, it's a Tweed Deluxe that I built out of a Mission Amps kit several years ago. For the controls, I've got the amp, the EQ on the amp just set in the middle, as well as the volume. So there's really, you know, it's a pretty, Tweed Deluxe doesn't have a lot of headroom, so you know it's got a little hair on the amp, which is kind of just on the edge of distortion, which is a good sound. I think the Suhr captures that pretty well. You move on from there, the line out of the speaker goes into the Suhr reactive load, which you can see here. It's just a regular load box. Going out of the Suhr comes into this 2-notes torpedo cab, which, like I say, I have an Old Hammer Tweed Deluxe cabinet loaded in to the memory, and the signal runs through that, out of that into this Universal Audio Apollo's guitar input, which then feeds my MacBook, which I'm running Studio One is my DAW.